men are actually more passionate about getting on with their lives than they give them credit to, especially that stigma about people that coming out of addiction, they're lazy, they're, good for nothing. All that you can come here on our campus and see these men every day working on getting their license, working on getting everything they need to go to work, filling out applications. And so what I've learned is the desire that our men have to better themselves is not given enough credit.
Welcome to the March edition of the Lost and Foundry Show. We're here at Changed Lives Christian Center, which is just on the outskirts of downtown
North
Birmingham.
Birmingham, right?
North, and so lots of great stuff happening here, lots of life change happening here. I can't wait to talk about all the things happening here at Changed Lives Christian Center, all the new initiatives that we're wanting to launch soon. But before we get into that, we really need to introduce Judd, the director here at Change Lives Christian Center, recently become the director. But
Correct.
before we even talk about that, let's talk about the Foundry and your involvement with the Foundry specifically.
So my journey with the Foundry started in June of 2017, where I came in as a participant, needing their services, ready for change, tired of the way I was living. And very early on, I started helping in the intake department as my employment readiness location, and it started a fire in me to help people, and I knew this is exactly where God wanted me to be. So when I graduated, I gained employment at the Foundry, and I've been through multiple roles here and have just came up through the ranks, so to speak, on the program side of things, and here we are today.
Yeah. So talk about you say that doing something created a passion, and talk about how important passion was to a successful recovery journey for you.
Well, it was very important because if you don't have the desire to change, you're not going to change. If there's not something inside of you that's just getting you through the tough times and getting you through the hard things and the hard changes, because for me particularly, at 20 years of living a certain way and thinking a certain way, it was hard to change that, and you had to have that fire inside you, that passion to grind through that, and no matter what came your way, you said, "I'm gonna get over this obstacle."
Mm. Yeah, I've heard Pastor Bill talk about, this isn't where we're guiding people through their recovery journey. We're inviting people to actively participate in a recovery journey.
Right? I tell guys I work with all the time, like, they say, "Thank you," and I tell them I did nothing on their journey, I just pointed the path out. They went and did all the
Mm.
work and, found their way.
Yeah. And I love so much when someone's here at the Foundry and they seem to be absorbing the information, but they're not able to figure out how do I put this thing I've learned into action. And you can see a moment where they start putting it into action, and it's like the recovery journey just,
That aha moment, as we
yeah,
say around here.
yeah, it's pretty magical.
It is.
Okay, so you are a successful graduate of the Foundry. You work as an intake coordinator, and now you're going through kind of the ranks over there, working with Jackie Gann. Talk about your time as
Yeah, so well, I started at the reentry program division that we don't have anymore is intake and social services. When we were closing that out, I went into counseling, magical time. But when the program manager position came available, that's what floated my boat. That's what got me excited because I love processes. I love figuring out things and accountability and being a part of that type of environment. And working with Jackie was great. He's been around a lot longer than me. He's very knowledgeable. I was able to glean from him and learn from him. And I just spent over 2 years as the program manager. Uh, my first day as program manager, March 17th of 2020. So I took that position as the shutdown happened, and it was great because I got to learn, every day something changed because nobody knew. So I got to just be a part of, like I said, making a new process, and then the next week changing it, and then getting rid of it and starting
Yeah,
something
yeah,
different.
which is gonna pertain to being over here at Change House Christian Center, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, because everything's always changing. Men are changing, the issues they're dealing with are changing, but it's great.
absolutely. So, you've got 2 years of experience working as a program manager over there. Then our fantastic director, John Wall, he moves on to another ministry,
Yes,
which is working kind of in the same area that this ministry is working in. So this position comes available. We hire you for the job. Okay, you've been here for 6 months now. What
yep.
have you learned since you've taken over?
Every day is different. Men are actually more passionate about getting on with their lives than they give them credit to, especially that stigma about people that coming out of addiction, they're lazy, they're, good for nothing. All that you can come here on our campus and see these men every day working on getting their license, working on getting everything they need to go to work, filling out applications. And so what I've learned is the desire that our men have to better themselves is not given enough credit in
Mhm,
the world.
mhm. Is there not a better example of the Foundry services than a graduate of the program finding successful recovery than you learn what it means to put on a recovery system behind the scenes, and now you're doing it as the head of a whole department. I mean, that is that not a great indicator of success here at the Foundry? We'll talk about more stories in a second. So, you may be confused about what Change Life Center is and how it fits into the Foundry's model. And so I want to re-go over the details before we get to this next part. Foundry's model is life change programs, and we have 5 of those programs. 3 programs are recovery programs, about 6-ish months that you'll be in that recovery program before you graduate. You're here on campus living with us, and you can go to the women's recovery program in Bessemer, men's recovery program in Bessemer, or we have another program in Coleman that we call the Farm. Now, there's something that happens that when someone graduates the program, now where do they go? Many of them were homeless before they came to the program. They were couch surfing or they were living out of their car, even on the street much of the time. And so now we've taken someone who's lived with us for 6 months and they don't have anywhere to go. So it's important for there to be a transitional housing situation. We do have a house for the women that they transition out of, and that's our 4th program. And our 5th program is the Change Lives Christian Center. It has a more complicated history that we won't get into today. Maybe we'll get into in the future. But the Change Lives Christian Center isn't just for men in the Foundry who've graduated the recovery program to come to. It's for men from other programs can
Yes.
come here as well. And also, straight from the street, you can come here, get your life put back together. Let's talk about the services that Change Lives Christian Center provides. And I mean, there's a lot of life change happening here.
Yes. So obviously, at intake, we just see what they're dealing with. What's their obstacles? What's the barriers they're going to be facing as they transition back into society? So we have a great program manager, Nate. He takes care of all that, recognizing and seeing what they need. Also, then he starts a life plan with them. This life plan it's 4 different sections, 9 topics in each sections, and it shows them a map of uh, what successful living looks like, the things you accomplish. We have many great opportunities and partnerships with companies, with people just looking for men that are needing a job and wanting a job. Just yesterday, we developed a new relationship with a lady who has passion from her life experiences that to help men in these situations with really good jobs. Also, we have the Foundry Health Clinic, mobile clinic. We provide on-site and virtual healthcare for our men. We provide all the prescriptions for free. Anything that you can think of they could deal with on the medical side of their life, we've removed that barrier through the help of the UAB nursing program. Dr. Bowers, it's just an awesome thing that was here in place, luckily for me when I got here, but it's a service that is so needed for underserved communities.
Yeah, you say the phrase removing that barrier.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of the key thought process is that when someone has been living on the street, they've developed a bunch of barriers that keep them from living with someone else or in a house or something like that. And those barriers are things like not being able to have a sustainable job,
Yeah.
not having the skills that it requires to even get the job in the first place.
It's the holistic care. We address their mental health, their physical health, their well-being, their shelter, their food, their clothing, their job, uh, how to be better on their job, how to seek a better job in general. Just these things that they don't have the skills or experience doing previously.
And so homelessness is this kind of national topic right now.
Yes.
You've got some cities that are it's just growing rampantly. Even in Birmingham, you're seeing a growth in homelessness. And it's a complicated, messy topic where when you get involved with someone's life, it's not as easy as just providing them a place to stay. It's all these things that we're having to work through and help them with. And they're fully capable of it. They just need a little bit of a hand, a little bit of a direction to say, this is the way you need to go. So let's talk about some success stories. Who's the first name that comes to your mind when you think of success here?
Chad McAllister, because I was part of his whole journey, because transitioning as an employee from the Foundry to Change Lives, I got to see his whole story. I can remember the first conversation. He called my phone from the Tuscaloosa County Jail and said, "Hey, I'm coming tomorrow. Just wanted to ask me a few questions." I was there at his intake, and then when I transitioned over here to Change Lives, he was here about 2 months before he moved out successfully on his own as the head of his household, which is our ultimate goal for every man that comes through our program.
So he only stayed here for 2 months. Is that what you said?
He was here for 2 months. He was here about 6 months total, but 2 months after I came over.
That's great. And so, what's the maximum amount of time someone can stay here?
Our kind of soft ending, soft line there is 2 years, because some people need more help than others. Some people don't have any outside help and are literally starting at zero. Or if they have fines or other things they have to pay off, they're starting at negative. But if you are here after 2 years and you're working a plan, then we'll make those accommodations.
That's great. So that there's this success that's happening here where lots of men are coming here and finding hope and using the tools they're being equipped with to get back on their feet, find work, find accommodations, and go to the next phase of their life and move past this. And I would imagine that if someone watching cares about homelessness, then supporting Change Lives Christian Center should be at the top of their list of things they should look at doing.
Absolutely. Like you said, we have guys that come straight off the street. We're not just uh, people that come here aren't just suffering from a SUD or substance use disorder. Some guys are just experiencing a housing crisis. They just had nowhere to go because of whatever reason. COVID did that a lot to some guys. Another example is just this past week, we helped a guy that was being labor trafficked. He had nowhere to go, and they rescued him, and they
Mm,
contacted us
mm.
because because it was not enough for them to rescue him and then just put him on the street. Thankfully, they heard of us, and we had the open beds.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we talked a little bit about the barriers and how there's these barriers, and we're working hard to remove barriers for someone to get off the street. And so we don't have all of the equipment we need to remove
No,
all of the barriers in someone's
no.
life. Now, some of those barriers we literally do not have, we cannot get the equipment for,
Right,
right?
right.
And that includes like, having a relationship with their savior and stuff like that. Like that's, on them at some level.
Yeah.
But there are other barriers that today we could buy something that would let this person overcome a barrier. And
Yes,
I'm talking about things like owning a laptop so that you can send emails and further your education, making sure that we have high quality beds so that they have a good night's sleep.
yes,
Or even when someone graduates the program, they need just a little bit more money to help them, equip their apartment with a chair so
yes,
they have somewhere to sit when they buy their
yes,
apartment.
and
So,
transition.
right. So we have a new initiative to
Yes.
help us fund these other projects. And what's that called?
The Careholders Initiative.
All right, check out this video.
When we partner with someone, they face barriers. We want to meet those needs. Some we do well, and there's some that we've identified that aren't as well. So today, we're going to launch the Careholders Initiative, and we need your help. One of the first barriers we would like to remove is computer literacy. In today's world, in today's employment environment, you have to have computer skills. And we have so many men that come into our programs that don't have those skills, but want those skills. We want to be able to hand each man his own laptop. And if he graduates successful, send that laptop with him. One of the other things we've noticed is our bedding is aging. We want to show these men that we love them with good bedding and bedroom furniture so that they feel comfortable, they feel safe, and they can get a good night's rest. We want to remove as many barriers as possible. When somebody moves out, how can we say, don't go out to eat and they don't have any dishes? How can we say wash your clothes and be ready for work if they don't have a washer and dryer? With your help, we can get the funds to do graduate grants and remove as many barriers so these men can be successful as possible. That's the Careholders program. And with you and Change Lives Together, we can help these men remove the barriers.
So that is our Careholder initiative. Help change lives by becoming a careholder today. If you care about the homeless crisis and want to provide a way for men to better themselves, or if you want to increase our ability to do the work, the life-saving work that we're doing, I think you should become a careholder. Where can someone become a
Absolutely.
careholder right now?
Well, they can go to cl-cc.org/careholder.
Yeah. And there you can find a way to become a monthly giver, which is a
Absolutely.
great way to be a careholder.
Absolutely. Then there will also be buttons that you can pick a specific area that you would like to be a care holder in. Our laptop initiative, we are estimating that it's going to be about $1,000 a laptop because we don't want to get them less than something. We want it to work well. Also, if you want to support some of our drives to better our facilities and our bedding, you can do one room, one bed, one set, which should be a different amounts depending on what you want to do. And then also our graduate grant initiative that we are wanting will be a minimum of $500 because we want to make sure we remove the barrier of moving into and becoming the head of their household with something significant, not just something.
Yeah, absolutely. So the people who join the Careholder program are also part of the change, the overall giving initiative that we've been doing. And but that also means that we're opening up volunteering here at the Change Lives Christian Center. And
Yes.
we're really excited to see you on campus helping with these men's lives, being positive influences that it's not even so much as providing a service to the men as much as it is being an
Spending the
encouraging
time.
presence. You know, a little bit of encouragement goes a long way for someone on their homeless and recovery journey. So we're excited to partner with you, see you on
Yes,
campus. We can't
please.
wait. I'm really excited about all the things happening here at Change Lives Christian
Absolutely.
Center.
Me too.
We kind of skim the surface of all the
Yes.
movement and momentum
That's
that's
right.
happening here. I'm sure that we'll be back and seeing all the cool things that God is doing here
Yes.
and seeing all the cool things that you guys are going to be doing here. So that's the Lost and Foundry show. And next month, I promised to do it this month, and we ran out of time. And I won't get into the details. You guys don't care. But next month, it's going to be me and Brandy, and we're going to be talking about some of the goals that we have for the change and all the cool things happening with volunteering. I think we've added 5 volunteer opportunities just this year so far, and we're adding more. So
Awesome.
come on campus, get involved. But next month, I'm going to set some goals about the change initiative with our monthly giving and our volunteers. Can't wait to see you guys then. Have a great week, month, however long it's going to be before I see you next.
Thank you.
See ya.